Hello, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Wednesday? No, Tuesday. What day is it? Okay, today's Tuesday. Well, clearly I'm off. Off by 1 hour, peak rest coder. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And there, Bevy isn't real. It can't hurt you. I mean, I don't know about that. Is it real? Is it not real? Can any game framework hurt us? Probably. Probably is the answer for that. All right. So it is not unreal. I I kind of wish I had a soundboard so I can do the entire whatever the name of that sound is for the like the drum and cymbal sound for that joke, cuz that was good. I liked it. Clearly I am awake and things are going to go well today. The plan. Or rather, what did we get up to last time? So if we run cargo run, we have a game application, so we have a game world, and we have our ship, a single component, no, a single entity with, I don't remember if it's a couple of components or what we have in here. I think we have like two components, like a position and like what it is, a mesh or something. And so that's what we got. We have our triangle, our ship here. So I guess we also have a camera for this as well. Okay, so let's see other things. Let's continue on. So we have our triangle. Oh yeah, the other thing, I can rotate it. That's a big deal, right? So what's next? Fix the center. Okay, so yeah, hold on. This here's center. It's like not so it's not rotating from over here. It's not rotating from up here. It's like rotating from here? No. Where is it rotating from? I I'm confused. So let's see. In our systems, we have a rotate ship. And so I'm doing this rotate Z as our function, which, okay, it takes a quat, which is, I'm just giving it this rotate speed 0 times that. I wonder if I need something more to make that work. I guess, like, okay, so yeah, I don't have a parent, so the axis is not going to be relative to the rotation of the parent. Okay, so that works, right? Yeah, mystery pivot point. Yeah, it's those are always the fun ones, right? Anything mystery in programming is fun. Okay, so do I want to look up any? Okay, so there's the transform. There's some other rotates on here. So like if we look up transform, which is a transform, let's compile the docs and we'll use those. Is it what? Cargo doc web? Cargo doc open? Oh, and I'll permit all the verbing about different things. Plus, whatever verbing jokes or anything else we want to do, no matter how bad they are, we're fine with them. I forgot how big of a compilation the first time it takes, and I guess creating the documentation is essentially a full compilation again. Okay, so we have you open. Let's see if we can find this transform, which, I mean, okay, these are all the same. Okay, right, okay, so here's our rotation. So we have a translation, rotation, and a scale. Okay, so we did a translation, and I'm using this rotate Z. So around the Z axis, but that might not be correct. Now I can rotate. Okay, let's try rotate local. See what that does. Oh, okay. So hold on. Wait, didn't rotate Z take a quat too? Because hold on. Rotate Z takes, oh, just an angle. That's what it was. Okay. So if I rotate local, you take a rotation, which is a quat, and a quaternion representing an orientation. This quaternion is intended to be of unit length but may denormalize due to floating point error creep, which can occur when successful quaternion operations are applied. Can I get the current? Okay, so don't use this one. How would I figure out what the current quaternion is? Because I would imagine that if I just make something up, right? Is this... Okay, so I just create a quat here. Okay, so if I transform, rotate local, quat. Okay, creates a quaternion for normalized rotation axis, angle, and axis. Oh, but it's still F3 and F32. Oh, okay, from a rotation X. So now there's this from rotation X, and these are all... Okay, so this will probably let me rotate around. Okay, so if I do an X, and X is left and right, so this will do... Here, let's try something like this. We'll do our rotates. I can just change you. Okay, rotate level. Throw you in there. And let's see what this let's see what this gives us. Where's my mouse? There you are. Okay, so here's our lovely ship. Okay, so now I can... Okay, so that's the X rotate. That, to me, that feels more like a Y rotate. But okay, so interesting. All right, so if I do a Y, we expect left and right to be next. Are we 3D asteroiding? No, not at all. Although it would be fun to like make 3D when like it's not going to be 3D at all. Okay, so now I can do, because that makes sense now. So that's a Y. And now Z, what's Z? Because like Z is confusing to me because I'm 2D, right? So, but the example that we got from rotating from the Bevy code used rotate Z. Right, so like that's confusing to me why this then does rotation in a way that feels like it's rotating. Okay, but that would be your rotation axis in 3D to give 2D like rotation. Yeah, this is Z. This is Z. So I would expect like right around here to be the rotation point, right? World coordinates aren't always what you think they are, clearly. So that's kind of what this is kind of like where I would expect the rotation to be. I feel like it's something weird. It's definitely not that. Is it closer to up top? I don't know where this is rotating from. Like it's almost off center, but not like that because I'm moving around it. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure where that is. Let's see. Could you show the spawn child parent structure for the triangle mesh? Yes. Where do I put that? Okay, so so I'm querying for the transform, and then I'm translating it that way with X and Y. Add player. Okay, so when I add player, here's my mesh. So I use a material mesh 2D bundle, and then I meshes add a default triangle, color it orange red, and scale it. And everything else is default. I would expect that would be true too, right? That it's originating around 0, 0, but I'm moving it from 0, 0 all the way into the middle of the screen. So shouldn't it then be rotating by like moving down here like that? That's what happened to me last time when I used GGZ. When I did the rotation, it was like when I rotate, it was like rotating like this. It would move down like that. It rotates based off its origin in the parent in the world. Okay. I don't know if there is a parent. How come you can't draw the point of rotation? Can I draw the point of rotation? I guess like the point is I don't know where that is to like draw a thing. But yeah, I'm setting the position. Well, okay. So I'm setting the position. Well, okay. So I have position 0, 0. So I'm basically creating, okay, so I'm creating an entity that has two components. One component is position that has 50-50, and the other, okay, so it has three components: position, the mesh, and the rotate speed. When I'm drawing the ship, I'm taking the position here and I'm using the translation for that. You just need the transform in the ship mesh. I need the transform in the mesh itself. Wait. So here, so I would need a. How would I? There's no transform here. Wait, it wouldn't be there. It would be here, right? No. The ship mesh transform is the origin is rotating off of. Okay. Now this transform that I'm trying to get off of it is this transform, which is the mesh itself. And that's what I'm attempting to rotate off here. Okay, so line 27 here. So what am I supposed to do with this though? Is rotate this. So this is initially drawing it. Yeah, that's the origin of rotation right now. When I actually rotate it, I'm taking the transform and I'm attempting to rotate it. Oh, okay. I don't have to do anything. Okay. I thought you were telling me what to do to fix it, which I was getting excited about that, because then we can fix it. Also, because I'm in relative mode, yeah, that's interactive mode, so you can see all the actual lines, the line numbers. Okay, so I'm taking this transform. To fix it, you need to set transform on line 31 to 0. Oh, wait. So you need to set transform on this line to. I set the transform to 0, 0, 0, 0, or the position. It's like, okay, so I have width scale. We have that, and then yeah, okay. So I want to set. Okay, hold on. So this is, oh, that's a vec. So right here. Now I have width rotate. Okay, width rotation with scale. We'll transform. I don't see anything about a position here. Yeah. On line. Oh, wait. Why would it be here? So ship mesh. Or you want me to set the original position to 0, 0, 0, 0. So, because if I set you like that, let's save, then I believe that means what did I do wrong? That feels like nothing's changed, which I'm kind of surprised. Why isn't that showing up here? Is that because the camera is centered on it? Wait, is that really offset? That feels actually correct now when I put my mouse over it. It's just a little high, but maybe that's fine. Where is the camera? I am doing nothing with the camera. All right, so I felt like that was a little bit better. Where did I put the camera? I put the camera somewhere. Okay, yeah, so I spawned the camera like this, and this is all I'm doing for the camera. And I'm doing this because that's what I found in an example, and there wasn't really any tutorials on what to do with the camera to like make it something. So there, we have a camera. And as long as I'm added in this, let's see, when I'm querying for rotate, I'm getting transform and rotate speed because I know that the camera doesn't have rotate speed on it. So therefore, this transform is the actual ship that I'm getting as opposed to the camera, because we did that initially. We accidentally moved, the first time we played with it, we moved the camera at the same time as the ship, and that caused, obviously, problems. So now it's a little bit better. Okay, so now also the other thing is I had rotate, let's bring this back on. This was rotate Z, also was another thing that we got from one of the examples of how to do a rotation. Let's see how this looks. I can't tell if that looks good or bad. I think the center is like here. Yeah, it's really close to that, if it's not that. I probably know this, but for 2D, the origin x equals 0, 0, y equals 0 is at the center of the screen by default. I did not know that because in most of the other game engines I've used, the center was up here. So actually, that's the reason why I was trying to move it down closer to the center, because I thought that's what I needed to do. There's a Bevy cheat book. Oh, that's okay. Hold on. Let me find my chat over here on this computer. Oh, that's nice. Okay, so we have the unofficial Bevy cheat book. I'm gonna go ahead and load this up in Firefox here. Oh, there's so much more. The one of the things that I was not super happy with was the lack of documentation slash early usage, like tutorials on like getting things to actually like work the way I want it to. Please be aware that I don't know what I'm sharing. Well, I don't know what I'm doing, so we're it's all good. It's all good. No cheating. I am gonna cheat all my way through this project. The book is the law. Unfortunately, it is not updated to 0.13. Oh, uh-oh. You'll try to help out when you can? Yeah, thank you for that. So far what we've the thing that I was a little bit concerned about was the lack of the tutorial, that like the official Bevy tutorial didn't have anything to do with like camera, didn't have anything to do with displaying things. We just like got a hello world printed out to the system, used some systems, used some components, and that was it. Okay, so coordinate system. Bevy uses a right-handed Y-up coordinate system for the game world. Okay, so x-axis go from left to right. Okay, that makes sense. For 2D, the origin, 0, 0 is at the center of the screen by default, which this will be the first engine that I've ever used that does that. Is that common? Is that like common in 3D? Because like I've obviously only used 2D stuff before. It is the same as Go.Maya on OpenGL. Compared to Unity, the Z-axis is inverted. Okay. Either way, though, this is all like 3D stuff, which I've never really done much 3D stuff. Now, will you show me how to create a simple triangle? Okay, maybe it transforms. Okay, rotation. Well, okay, this is the example that we used, I believe. So we spawned a camera just like that. I didn't put any of the bounds or anything else. I just wanted to be able to do rotation. They did a 2 radians. I wonder if I should do that. We don't have a, okay, so we didn't use a sprite. So we're using a mesh. So I ignored this part. I wonder if the transform we're going to have though. Okay, come on, go away. Don't do that. Okay, and then we get our rotation factor. We get this. We increase the rotation, and then, okay, yeah. Then here's this transform rotate Z, and that's where we got this. You know, I think it did help the Drunken Monkey. I mean, it certainly doesn't hurt. Everything can help, and we're all learning together. Unless you already know this, then you're just sort of staring at me and going like, "What are you doing?" Unless you're helping, then it's much appreciated. Okay, so it is common to put stuff in the center. I think that's what you're referencing. Update ship translate with our new translation del. Wait, okay, so I did this. Now I did not do any forward stuff. I did not do any movement. I'm just rotating around. I didn't want to do anything else. I just wanted that rotation. Okay, so I think let's just say that rotation is appropriate. What would the next thing that I want to do is? Do I want to fire or do I want to move? Maybe moving would be it. I think moving is going to be the most complex part, because then we have like the rotation and when I give it like some angle that we're going with. Because I have the rotate speed. What I don't have is the rotation that we're on. So I probably need I probably need a position, a rotate speed. I probably also need a, maybe just a rotation. Should this be a PUV 32? I guess this is going to be an F32. Okay, and we're going to turn these into radians. Okay, so when I spawn the player, so add player, we're going to have let rotation equals rotation, and we start with 0 2 radians, and then we'll add this in here, right? So in here, rotation. So now we have that. Okay, so we have a rotation. Now when we rotate the ship, I want to not only get the rotate speed, which is happening when we have the inputs. So we have a system for, let's say I want to also get this rotation. And I want this to be mutable because we're going to update it, right? So we want rotation, like that. Okay, so we'll get, there's a rotation. Now I'm rotating, okay, so rotate Z by this amount, but what I really want to do is update the rotation, right? So I want rotation 0 plus equals to the rotate speed. Now, do I want to turn that into radians? Probably, right? So if I do that, I rotate Z by not the speed anymore. I want this rotated by, oh, how do I know what my rotation currently is? I guess, oh, do I want to just get the rotation after I do this? Maybe? So can I do a transform rotation of the, okay, so this gives me a, okay, so what if I do, that gives me, oh, okay, so that does give me that. So I want to do this differently. You're not going to be an F-32, you're going to be a quad. When I create the ship with the rotation, you have to be a quad default. And then when I rotate, we're going to say rotation.0 equals whatever the rotation is right now. So we've updated that. So theoretically, we still now have what that rotation is. Okay, good. Now I have this input rotate ship. I guess, hold on, let's test to make sure that still works the way we expect it to. I wouldn't expect it to fail. I think we can also debug out what the rotation is, shouldn't we? Let's debug the rotation. Can I find value rotate in this scope? Also, I think, right, I forgot to update my theme. Let's just go ahead and, I like this theme. Shows the errors a little bit better. Rotation. Okay, so I want to see that rotation over and over and over again. So if we run you, okay, yeah, so that, interesting, that's changing the, was it X, Y, Z, and then, what's the last one? Yeah, so it's changing the Z, and it's changing the last thing in a quad. Okay, but that is changing now. And so I can hopefully use this quad later to move around and like figure out where we're moving. Okay, so we have a rotation like this. I want input. Okay, so let's create a new input. So if I do a pub function, let's do input. Okay, so let's do a, oh, query. If I'm querying for something, I need to have like a thrust amount, don't I? So this will be like Oh, maybe thrust would just be like a boolean if it's on or off, right? It's like not an amount. Okay, so I don't have it here. I'm gonna throw it here. So we have rotation. We're gonna have let like thrust. So we're gonna start not thrusting, not there. Okay, so I want a query for thrust. How does this work again? Right, it's a query. It's gonna be a query like that. I want a mute thrust. Okay, so we have one thing here. So this is just going to be a mute thrust in query. That gives me access to the thrust. So I want to just say thrust dot zero is going to be equal to if keyboard input pressed key code up arrow up. Okay, so if we press arrow up, then this is going to be true or false, right? But wait a second, it's true or false. I don't need an if because that's a boolean already. We just do this. What are you upset about? Oh, private field, make you public. Okay, so now you're set like that. All right, so we've input the thrust system. Okay, so in the main library, I want to, okay, so we're adding this system. So we have rotate ship. Then I also want input thrust ship. Okay, so we have that. Now, when I run this and I press the up arrow, it's going to add that in there, but I kind of need a system to do anything with this, right? To change the position. Well, I don't want to just change the position, right? I need to change it's going to be an acceleration, and the acceleration affects the velocity. So that means, okay, so I have a position, I also need a velocity, which is going to be almost exactly the same as this. I keep on doing one too many. Okay, so we'll have a velocity in our systems. We have a rotation, we have a thrust. I want a velocity. Oh, now that I think about it though, I'm doing this position just like that. I wonder if I should do the position as like a vec2 or a vec something else. Okay, so pup function, let's okay, so let's apply thrust. So we're going to take in, I guess we're just going to have the query, right? So we're going to have our mute query where we want the thrust, but this is also going to be like that. And I want mute. Okay, so actually I don't need mute thrust. I just need thrust like that. I do need mute velocity like that. Okay, so we're going to do for thrust and mute velocity for inquiry. Okay, so I have our thrust. So if we thrust, so if thrust.0, so if this is true, then I want to take velocity and I want to, this probably should be like a constant of some kind, but I kind of want to just add 1 to velocity. So let's just make it go up. So we'll sub 1 from y, I think. So we'll just say velocity dot x and y. So velocity dot 1 minus equals to like 1 dot, something like that. And we'll go ahead and apply the thrust. Now I kind of wonder, use systems, everything is just in here. So I kind of want to just change this to be a star. And then I can just start using these here, which is a little bit, I mean, I can see an argument for not using a star in that position. Okay. So we have build, add systems. Okay, so we have that, blah blah blah. Now this doesn't do anything. I need to update the position. So we'll update. This is really going to be apply velocity now. So I care about here. We'll have something like that. So I want the position and the velocity. Now acceleration gets reset, but I'm just applying this to velocity like that. I could do the entire acceleration in there too, which might be a good thing to do, but I'm not going to worry about it too much. Not yet. Okay, so we're going to have a read-only velocity and a mutable position here. Okay, so for position and velocity and query. Okay, so I want to do position. No, I'm not using any fun. I probably should use something like a vec2 or a vec3 or something like that as the position. Yeah, I think we were thinking about the exact same thing, Custard. Because right now I have to do something like this. Position 0 plus equals to velocity at 0. Position dot 1 plus equals to velocity dot 1. To update that. I'm not going to ignore you. You all are great. Yeah, so I mean, essentially I have a vector, but it's not really a vector. Why are you mute? That was weird. Okay. This applies the velocity, so let's go ahead and apply velocity here too. Now, if I run this, now the ship should move when I press the up arrow, and it's only going to move ever up. So I can never move it sideways, but that will come later. Not a vector, Victor. We should probably do yeah, we should definitely do that. Also, love the airplane joke. How many of us have actually seen Airplane? That's an old, like, we're talking about like old games. Old movies like that are great. Roger. And surely this is gonna work. Okay, well, I'm opposite. It's gonna work, but don't carve me surely. I was waiting for you to do that. Yeah, those old movies are great. Okay, so it's let's see, velocity. I want you to be a plus equals, so I want this to be the opposite. And I probably want this to be a smaller one, like 0.2. Oh, actually, no. 1 dot is okay. I need the time thing. I need the time thing so I can use delta. Where was that? Oh, that just right. So nope, don't actually delete it. Yank it and then time to delta seconds. Okay, so if I do that, we get time. Then we're gonna have times time dot delta seconds. Time dot delta seconds. Semicolon. What? Expected. Okay. Expected a semicolon here. I have a semicolon. I can't actually see where the error is on this line. It's right here. That feels like Rust Analyzer is weird. What does 1 dot do? I did not realize that 1 dot was a thing that I could do, but it's basically telling it that it's some kind of float, either like an F32 or an F64, or I guess an F128 too. And it's like figuring out what that should be from there. So that's really nice there. It's a bad day to give up sniffing glue. Like there were so many. He kept on increasing that, right? It was like it's a bad day to give up like all the different things. Then Symphony Glue was the last one before he passed out. But yeah, that was great. Scott proves he has taste in movies. He's one of us. Yeah. Heck, even if you've never seen it, just watch it. Like go find it online, give it a watch. Let us know what do you think about it. 2 is pretty good too, but 1 is the best. If I had like water that I wouldn't stain all my clothes, I would also develop a drinking problem. Okay, let's try running it. Compiler, what do you think? You think things are fine. Rust Analyzer is on drugs. Okay, so now when I try to go, I smoothly go up. Now I can never stop. There's no, it just goes up forever. LSP. Let's restart that. Okay, so I'm successfully able to move up, right? Now, what happens if I want to move in the direction that I'm pointing? So, theory. Not theory. Wait, you shut up. I thought I turned that off. Okay, so I want to tilt like this and then press forward and not just go straight up, right? Because that just looks weird. I want to go in the direction that I'm facing. Now, I have the rotation. So I have my rotation. Now, to do this, what I probably need to do is create an actual, like use an actual vector, like what you were saying, what you were suggesting, Custard. And then I can apply a rotation to that, right? So refactor time, rewrite time. We don't have any tests, so it's all rewrites. So in position, let's say instead of like this pub like this, I do a, now first of all, okay, there's no that. Okay, how about a vec? Okay, so I have a vec2 like that. Okay, let's do a vec2 like you. Velocity will be the same thing. They need to match. We have a rotate speed, rotation, and thrust. And those are all going to stay the same, and that's going to cause problems. Okay, so velocity, you're not going to be a vec2. We're going to zero out. Okay, we're going to start with zero out vec2. For our position, we're going to do the same thing. So use vec2 zeroed. Okay, so that's great. Now, when I do this query here, okay, translation x. Okay, so you're going to be position 0.x. I assume I have access to that and it's public. And you do that. Excuse me. Okay, so I want to increase the velocity like this. So this is going to be, okay, so velocity, now 0.y plus equals to that. This is going to have to change. I don't think this is going to be a new thing altogether. I want to recreate what we have right now. So I want position 0 plus equals velocity 0 times that. Okay, which that should be appropriate now. No errors. So if I rerun this, everything should be exactly the same, right? Yeah, I can still turn. I can't stop, but everything still works the same that we expected. Now, apply thrust. So I have velocity going in like this, and then I want to add this to the velocity. So I want to do, and we want to create an acceleration. Okay, so let's create a new, okay, so I want, let's say we're just going up like that. I want to rotate this acceleration. This returns the right-hand side rotated by the angle of self. Returns right-hand side rotated by the angle of self. Okay, that's actually different than other libraries that I've used. So I don't want, okay, so I want to do acceleration rotated. So I need rotation. Okay, so we have rotation. All right, so, but that is just a number, isn't it? That's just going to be, oh, it's a quad. Okay, so hold on. Okay, acceleration. That's all I can do. Can I get a vec2? I guess I can get the xy, right? Oh, but it wasn't the xy was zeros. It was the third and fourth, whatever those were. Now I'm confused. Okay, well you have an example here, not snap to player. Okay, applying rotation and movement based upon keyboard input. This is what I want. Get the ship's forward vector by applying the current rotation to the ship's initial facing vector. Okay, so that's what I need, the movement direction. What's this? Vec3y? Is vec3y a constant? That looks like a constant. I don't really understand what this part is doing, but this part is getting its current rotation. Okay, so I need the transform. Okay, so things that have the thrust, velocity, rotation, and transform. Okay, so we'll do that current rotation. I guess it's direction, right? So direction equals a transform rotation. Now you're multiplying that by vec3 y, a unit vector pointing along the positive y-axis. So again, I don't really understand what that's doing. That gives me a vec2. Can I do this as a vec2 instead? No. Okay. So you need to be a vec3. I wonder if everything else needs to be a vec3 too. Okay, so direction. Okay, so if I have that, now I want to update. I probably want to normalize the direction, right? Oh, I'm betting we normalize the direction. That does not, they don't normalize that. Interesting. Okay. Can I do that? Return self-normalized. Okay, so we've normalized it, which means that now the direction it's facing won't affect the movement too much. It will just change its direction. To use this, I multiply the direction to the acceleration, and then I add that to the velocity, right? And so we would say velocity plus equals acceleration times direction. And then I'm guessing that because it's a vec3 and vec2, this won't work. Cannot multiply vec2 by vec3. Not implemented for that. Okay, so everything now needs to be a vec3. And you're upset because, yeah, it's vec3 zeroed, vec3 zeroed. Why are you still, oh, vec3. Okay, now you're happy. So I'm attempting to update the velocity based upon this, and we already knew the velocity worked. So obviously I can still move up like that. Now if I turn and try to go this direction, I can go there. Oh, I can't. Oh, I'm only going up and down. I'm unable to go left and right. Okay. Why is that? Because I'm just moving like this. I'm just moving like this, up and down. That makes sense. I really want my acceleration to be a scalar, don't I? So if I do something like just an F1 like that, now it should go in the direction that I'm facing, right? So now I can go like this. Now we can go off in this direction. Okay, we can move around. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we have this and we can move around. Now it's really smooth movement, which is really nice. I've always loved like having smooth movement in these type of things. I don't have anything to show that I'm sort of like thrusting, which would be nice. We could probably create a little triangle at the bottom of this and have that appear whenever we're thrusting. I don't know if we want to do that right now. Maybe. Let's go ahead and commit this also because we did some stuff. All right, so we have able to move the ship around the screen. Okay, let's see. What do we need to do next? Let's put the thruster icon on. So I want another. We have a couple choices, right? When I create the player, I create this mesh. I need another mesh, which is going to be invisible, or is it going to be rendered or not rendered? So I need like the thrust mesh, right? But if I'm going to put that in there, I should probably put this into a struct. That way I can query it out, because right now I'm just querying it through transform, but this is going to get both transforms, which is not what I want. And it's almost like what I want to do is a struct like object entity mesh. Now, is there like a mesh here? What are you exactly? You are a material mesh 2D bundle. That doesn't sound right? As in, it's a bad idea for me to do, or it just doesn't sound right? Okay, so that's going to have a mesh. Oh, a material. Okay. If you store the mesh inside of a struct, it becomes a different component. Yeah, I guess like I need two meshes as part of one. Oh, but how would I? Okay, so hold on. If I have this ship mesh here. Oh, because meshes add, so I can do multiple meshes. No, that's a single mesh, right? Maybe look at parent children. So I can't do a child there. Can I do? So I can get the mesh. Not something like that. Maybe we can look at our cheat guide. When using commands to spawn entities, Commands has methods for adding children to entities, which automatically add the correct components. Command spawn my parent bundle with children. Oh, that's what I want. Okay. Note that this only sets up the parent and children components and nothing else. Notably, it does not add transform or visibility for you. If you need that functionality, you need to add those components yourself using something like spatial bundle, which may be what I want to do also. Accessing the parent or children. To make a system that works with the hierarchy, you typically need two queries, one with the components you need from the child entities, one with the components you need from the parent entities. One of the two queries should include the appropriate component to obtain the entity IDs to use with the other. Okay, so query child. Okay, so we want the parent and then the transform. Okay, so then that would get this. You suppose you could create a different mesh and swap it out. And that's what I was thinking of, like just having a mesh and choosing to render it or not render it on the frame based upon if thrust is true or false. That's what I was thinking. So like basically we have the ship mesh, and then I was almost thinking we could have a let thrust mesh. So if we have we have our meshes add. We're going to do a triangle 2D default materials add. Okay, we're just going to make you red because fire is red, right? Transform. Okay, so I want to rotate this something. Then that would be a separate entity, which you would want. Oh, a separate entity. Yeah. I always figured it would be the same entity. Because last time we did this when we used, I couldn't remember if we used our own ECS system or if we used specs. But I put it as part of the same entity. Because logically it does feel like it should be the same, right? It can't be the same unless you somehow combine the meshes. Can I combine the meshes and just have it combined and have like one part of the meshes display or not? Yeah, this is where like I don't know. I do notice that there's this meshes add, like as if I could do multiple meshes here. I think the simple thing would be two different shapes and set the mesh depending on the state. Oh, so having two different ships. One ship has the little fire thruster triangle coming out of it, the bottom, and one doesn't. Yeah, we could do that. That should work just fine. So basically then, first of all, meshes. Okay, so can I just do another, like if I want to do another add, there's no add there. Adds the given asset and allocates a new strong handle for it. Okay, but yes, this is just one mesh thing to do. Yeah, one of the things I was initially thinking of, just do another meshes add outside and store the ID. Where do I do that? Do I do it on, like where am I adding in? Because I can't add it into this ship mesh, right? Like this material mesh 2D bundle. So I have to add a second one here, right? Or where can I put the meshes add? Or like you're talking about like add it to an asset, like put it in an asset? We can just change the color of it. I'm okay with that. We can do that with a transform, right? So in draw strip, for transform, let's grit the thrust. Okay, so translation, position. Okay, so we do all that stuff. That's great. Then I want to say if thrust 0, transform. If I created a separate, okay, so for this, we're just gonna be nice and simple and change the color. How can I change the color? I would assume that off the transform I can do that, right? In other game engines, it was the transform that allowed me to set the color. Transform. There's a set. There's a field. Okay, I have translation, rotation, scale. When I was setting the color up here, what is that on? That's on materials. Okay, so it's a material. Oh, there's no material here. Check the bundle. Okay. Let's... Now, the spatial bundle, is that what I have? No, I have a transform. I have this transform. I have, a translation, rotation, and scale. So yeah, I don't... okay. That's not going to work then. We're throwing into here... So when I spawn the bundle, these should not be old docs. Wait, didn't I build these? Hold on. What happened to my build docs? These are my build docs. Just actually pull these up over here in this browser. I'm not used to looking at the other browser anyway. So, yeah, I need the material. Okay, so I create this ship mesh. So I have this material mesh 2D bundle. So ship mesh, and I just throw this into here, which is the material mesh 2D bundle. Now, can I grab this out here? So material mesh, I can, but it needs a type. Can I give it an anonymous type? No, I need to give it something. When I create this, color material. Okay, color material. There. The trait bound prelude component is not satisfied. Find other types implement trait prelude component's position velocity. Oh, okay. So that's not gonna work. Now, is there like just a material that I can get? Would that work? No. Material is not something I could throw into here, too. I think you can just override the handle color material for the entity. Without, wait. Without needing to get it? How would I get the handle? Like, is handle something I can query for? I guess I'm confused at like where I would get that. Now, I guess the other thing is, oh yeah, because it's auto rendering. Oh, I need commands. Can I just get commands like that? Will that work? Okay, so if I have commands, what would I get though? Entity by entity ID. Do I know what the entity is? Oh, an ad break just started. Sorry about that. I am not seeing them come up ahead of time. I'll respond to Sacred after the ad break ends. Returns the entity commands for the requested entity. I need to get the entity ID, but I don't have the entity, right? All right, welcome back. Okay, so I'm able to get the command. I don't know what the entity ID is, though. I don't know how to find that. So I was going to start looking through the documentation to see what that was. Okay, so query entity. So I can just query for entity like that. Nope, not that. That. No. No reference. Really? Won't that take ownership of it? Oh. Huh, okay. Thrust entity. Okay. Is this an actual entity or is this just an ID? Like, I don't know what an entity is. So if I pass in entity, let's say okay, these are entity commands. Hey, I thought there was no space in there. There we go. Okay, so we have entity commands like that. Now if I want to do entity commands, then you can insert on that to override the components. Do I want to insert or do I want to because I just want to update, right? I don't want to insert. But can I update a handle? I don't know. I want to update, I want to get a mutable reference to the mesh so I can update its color. Or I want some way to render the mesh myself in a system so I can update I can set the color at that time. Oh, use insert to replace the handle color material. Okay, hold on. So I can't, so I want to insert Bevy asset handle. Okay, so I need a handle, which has the asset. Oh no, it has strong, weak. So the question is what you put there. You need to save the output of the add when you add the color to the assets. When I add the, I don't have an output to the add when I add the color to the assets because that's in here, right? Or do I need to do this in a separate line? Maybe that's what I need to do. So I need to grab you. Do that. Oh, that gives me a handle color material and a second one. Okay, so we have, so this would be something like normal ship color and thrusting ship color. We start with normal ship color in the material. Then you need to figure out how to swap between them. Well, yeah, that's a big then, right? Do I? Okay, so I need to figure out how to in here. So we have our commands. Stop it. Insert. Hold on. So let's just say that I do this. It's not great yet, but it's an experiment. So let's say I just put this here. So we have normal ship color and thrusting ship color. And so I say, okay, if we're thrusting, put in thrusting ship color. Do you like that? Are you okay with that? You are not okay with that because I don't have materials. I need materials. I get materials through this, like that. Okay. So it gives me materials. Ship commands. Cannot mutate immutable variable. Okay, so entity commands needs to be mutable. Thrusting ship color. I move it there. Okay, so let's just clone you because why not? Try and insert instead of an add so you can provide a custom ID. Don't wait, this is an insert, right? I'm inserting here. The material. Oh, you mean insert here like that. It did not like that at all. Method takes 2 arguments, but 1 argument was supplied. It takes in an ID and then an asset. Oh, and you have a link. Okay. Okay, so this is, okay, plugin for colored mesh 2D plugin. So loader custom shader. We're not using shaders, so I would assume that this is different. Where does that handle come from? I didn't see it, but I might have missed it. Oh, down here. Okay, so it's const handle to the custom shader with a custom. Okay, so handle weak from, oh, literally hard-coded ID. Yeah, and replace shader with color material. Okay. So I can create a just const handle shader. Okay, so I'm going to put this to the side so I can reference it. So we're going to have a const. This is going to be a, do I need 2 of these or one? I just want 1 of these, right? So I can just replace it with that same ID. So this is going to be the ship. I need 2. Okay, so I want normal ship color ID, which is a handle. So instead of shader, it's a color. And then here it would be thrusting ship color ID. Okay, so I do this. Oh, color material. Color material. And then I want this to be a color, I guess, color material. Oh, I just do this. Handle, okay, so handle weak from U128, and then I just hard code a number like that. Okay, so we have you. Materials insert, because I insert those into materials. Okay, I think I'm starting to understand. Materials isn't actually part of my ship mesh. Materials is like a bucket of individual things that I just have, right? Like it's just a bucket of materials. We can almost imagine it as like a hash map or something like that, right? And I need the IDs for them so I can get them back later. So I'm going to do materials insert the ID. And in this case, that's going to be the normal ship color ID. And then we have color orange red. What did I do? Is this color orange red or color material orange red? Oh, you're right. An into. Color material. I forgot that we had the into on the other one. That doesn't like it. Was it the color material that I have the into on? That's what it was. Okay, we got it. So then here again, so we're going to do an into, and this is going to be a thrusting ship color ID going to there. What the? Okay, how? Come on. Actually do what I want you to do. There, that's it. Okay, so that gives us a normal ship color and a thrusting ship color. For our material, we start with, so expected a handle here. This is going to be a handle. Wait, which handle is this? So handle weak, strong? Maybe set it to a different color? I mean, fine. Just because it's easier to see if it works. You think that the ID of the handle will always be the same? Yeah, because we've set it. So it's always going to be hard-coded to this keyboard mash here. Now, material, because I forgot how to add that into the materials or what we did before. Was it, let's see. Oh, and look at that. This doesn't return anything. So what do you take? You take a, do I just, oh, is it just the handle? So is it just normal ship color ID? Is that what I have? So yeah, we're not going to use any of these. Okay, so we insert those. We have the IDs. We get that. We do that. Okay, so we have expected a semicolon here. We're not using you, so that's fine. Let's get rid of some of these warnings. That way we have nothing weird. Now I don't, okay, so I don't need to get these anymore. Now instead, what I want to do is I want to insert commands. But okay, so it wasn't, okay, so we have the materials, but I need to tell the entity to switch, insert the alternate color. Okay, so if I do entity commands, and I insert the alternate color, and that's going to be thrusting ship color ID, right? So if I do that, otherwise do the normal ship color ID and change the actual color from orange red for the second one. I did. It's now red. Here, we can take a look at it. We have orange, red, and red. Unused variable. Okay, so I don't need the materials. Not using that. Unused rotation. So I don't actually need the rotation here. You don't need to be mutable. Okay, no errors, no warnings. What's the chance that this works? Okay, so we have our orange red. I can still rotate. Hey, look at that. I can now add this in. Yeah, interesting solution to have a cons handle. Yeah, that is a super interesting one. But it works. I'd say it depends on whether your set of assets is known at compile time or not, which in this case, they are. Absolutely. Now, I mean, it'd be it'd be nice if I could throw in another mesh there, but I don't know what to do with that. Okay, so now you could also do the same with the mesh and make it a square. But that would just change, that would not make the triangle, that would make the triangle turn from a triangle to a square, right? I mean, what I would really like to do is to have a triangle like this. I mean, I guess maybe, yeah, mental polygon. If I could have exactly the same as this, but with just a little bit like, either like, yeah, square right here, a triangle right here, it doesn't really matter what it is. Two of them, it work. Any of those really works. But that would be two different meshes that we throw into the materials. Separate meshes would be separate entities in that case. The parent-child thing is still probably the way to go. Wait. Okay, so parent-child, I have a child mesh that I want to render sometimes, and then sometimes I don't render. Like I could set the alpha to 0 or 100, depending upon whether or not the thrust value is true. Is that what the thought is? Or just remove one of the components that is needed to render. How would I, like constantly add and remove a component for it? Like I insert the component and then I remove the component? Oh, that we could potentially do something like that. Or change the mesh. Yeah, I guess like that's a problem. How do I know which one to do? How do I choose? It's the paradox of choice, where we have too many choices to choose from, and so therefore we just sort of freeze. And it's like, what do I do? I don't know. There's too many things to choose from. It's not even like which one is the best way to do it. It's just which one is not terrible. Pick one and try it. Takes experience to know. Yeah, that's true. That's very, very, very true. Okay, so because of that, let's commit. All right, so what do? We have color of the ship changes when we thrust. So we have that going on. So now I could create a new, I kind of feel that these shouldn't go in here. I kind of feel like I can have a materials folder and then throw in two different meshes. Or at least one thing that I'm thinking about doing is having a thrust mesh, like the, what is it called? Like the burners, engines or whatever. But let's say I have let engines mesh. So I do meshes. So if I do an add, this is going to give me the handle. Okay, so we now know that the handle is actually just basically the equivalent of an ID that I can grab somewhere else. Okay, so if I have that, the asset, now I grab triangle 2D. What if I want like a rectangle? You believe that U128 is actually just setting a UUID? Wait, really? Oh, that's interesting. I mean, so it creates, you're right. Huh, it's creating a UUID from a U128. Is it using like, I don't, that seems pretty interesting. Okay, so let's imagine that I want to create just a mesh of a rectangle, right? So I want a add rectangle. Okay, so rectangle. New, let's do width of, I don't know, 10 and a height of like, I don't know, 50. It's going to be really big. I don't want to do more right now. I want to keep it big to make it easy to see. And then we can shrink this down to like, 2, 3 or something like that. 1.5, 2. Oh, and add start in 1 minute. Okay, so engine mesh, we do that. Rectangle, new, blah, blah, blah. We have this. Okay, so that gives me you. Now, I wonder if I want to do an insert to then create or delete this as a component off there. I probably want to insert. So I probably want to do something like this. So const, this is going to be the engine mesh. Let's call this the handle. And this is going to be a mesh. Okay, so instead of add, we're going to do an insert. We're going to hand it the engine mesh handle. Why do you do that sometimes, Helix? Come on. And then what was this? This was a rectangle. New that. Okay, so we insert you. You need to be an into to be happy. Okay, so we give that. And now let's actually just let's create a mesh. So let thrust mesh. I want to create the mesh just to show up right away, just so I can see that. So the mesh here would be the what did I call it? Engine mesh handle, right? The material would be, would I do color? I have a mesh that is an entity. Don't I want to create another mesh and add that as a component of this entity? Because the entity is, I can't? Oh, I can't have two meshes as part of one entity? Oh. You can only have one of each type of component. Oh, that's right. I remember that. That's a thing. Okay. So I would need to add this as a second ship mesh. Oh, so yeah, okay, hold on. I create two meshes or a child entity. I always thought it was going to be a child component. A child entity. Got it. Yeah, entity relations. Okay. So, all right. So first off, I need the mesh. So we have the thrust mesh is this. So I want, you're going to be a color. So this is actually going to be materials. What is it? Is it materials? Add. Why don't you help me out here? Materials. That's why. Materials. Add. Asset. I want color red. Into with that. Okay. Let's transform it. Actually, I don't think I need to transform it because I made it really big already, right? So then we'll just do default. Default. We do that. Okay. So now I want to add this thrust mesh as a child of the ship mesh. So, okay, spawn. Okay, so I am currently not grabbing the result of this. So I want let ship equals that. So we have entity commands there. And then I want do the same. Okay, so also do the same for the child. So then we're going to have let ship thruster. This is going to be the, I mean, the only thing that we really have here is the thrust mesh. Add the child to the parent. Okay, commands entity parent push children. Okay, so then we have, interesting. So it's all like in commands. So I don't go from the entity command. So I go commands dot entity ship push children, and you're going to be the ship thruster. Expected entity. Wait. Oh, there's a .id I'm missing on these two commands. So really I get ship.id like that. Ship thruster.id like that. Expected a reference. Oh, okay. There we go. Ship is already entity commands. Either chain it or you. Oh, okay. Because it's entity commands. Okay. Interesting. That's not what this says. This has me use the ID to then do that thing. Okay, you don't actually know if you can do it from entity commands. We can try. So if I just say here, ship, you're mutable now. I can do ship dot push children ship thruster. Oh, because you don't exist yet. You do now. Well, let's see. Oh, the mesh handle. I thought the mesh would let me do that. Oh, expected to struct mesh 2D handle found. Okay, so I need a mesh 2D handle instead of handle. So would this be a mesh handle? Oh, and you think this would just be add child? Oh, add child. Okay, that's good. Mesh. Okay, so we need to figure this out. So mismesh types expected struct mesh 2D handle found. Okay, so actually I don't need to do this though, because like we're gonna be. Do I? I don't think so. So okay, I insert this mesh, and I want this to go into here. Yeah, I shouldn't need it anymore. Although I am gonna need to remove and add it as a child over and over again, aren't I? And I don't know what the ID of this entity is unless I can somehow set the ID of that. Huh, okay. But yeah, let's say we get rid of you. I think just removing the transform might stop it from rendering. Or we could also try to set its alpha or something to 0 or not. But yeah, we can probably just remove the transform and or some we can figure something out. We'll figure something out. Okay, so you're not going to be an insert anymore. Now you're going to be an add. Do you need to be like an into? Oh, that's what it was. Okay, so the into is on the wrong side. Do I not need the into at all? No, I need the into there. Okay, so there we go. Yeah, if I... Okay, that one has a double into. This one is needed, though, because when I take it off, it yells at me. Mismatch types. Okay, so you're a... Yeah, so this one needs the into. This one does not. Okay, so... cannot borrow commands is mutable more than once at a time. Why am I borrowing you twice? I'm just using you twice. But I shouldn't be consuming you here. What? Does spawn consume commands? No, it doesn't. It takes a mutable reference to self. You get the ID from entity commands, which borrows. But I get the ID, I don't though. I use the ID from ship thruster here, which is the second one, but I don't get the ID here on this one. Chain the ID instead of using it right there in add child. Chain the ID? Chain the ID? How do you chain the ID? There was like a chain? I remember reading about chains, but I'm confused about using it in here. After the spawn, like this. Okay, so we have spawn. I want the you mean I want the ID here? Yeah, but that doesn't change that this command is saying that I can't borrow this more than once. You'd be interested to know why this is an error, but you can solve it by doing .id and then doing stuff with commands .entity, myid, spawn stuff. Yeah, I don't know either. That sounds interesting. It works if you spawn the thruster first. Oh. because I'm getting the ID and then I'm releasing commands. Okay. So I'm spawning this and I get the ID, which is a wholly new thing. Entity commands with this lifetime in it that we see, an anonymous lifetime, but there's a lifetime in there, which means that there's some references to stuff in commands from it. That's what it is. Okay, so that works. No errors. All right. Now I want to see, nope, that, okay, well, I just committed again. I should have a separate window for get stuff and then one window for running this. Okay, well, everything is red now. That triangle is much larger than I was thinking, isn't it? The triangle is huge. That's not what I want. Rectangle. Sorry, you're right. Rectangle. I know my shapes. I know shapes. Whoop, nope, no. That's really big. Okay, 1 and 3. Yeah, that's just huge. What am I working on? We are attempting to create an Asteroids clone in Bevy. Okay, so I like the general idea. What if I do like 0.0.3, 0.7? Okay, much better. And now I want to translate this down. Oh, it does move when I move, and it rotates when I move too. Nice. Okay, so that's gonna be good. All right, you know what? I think. Hold on. Where's my editor? Go back. I meant to do that. I meant to do Alt right, but I did Command Tab, which is not what I wanted to do at all. Okay, so I need to now translate you down. So this is the thrust mesh. I need a transform. How did I do the transform? Okay, so it's actually just a transform default with translation. Takes a vec3 new, and then, okay, so I want to just put this down, right? So I want 0 on the X. Let's do like 2 on the Y and 0 on the Z. That was the wrong direction. I am not very good at like figuring out what the directions I care to go with is. And it's way too much. I keep on forgetting that, oh, everything must be like really, really small. The world is tiny. So let's move it down by like 0.5. I think would be fine. Oh, and it needs to be negative. Oh, I have to do 0? Yeah, okay. Cargo run. All right, so maybe a little bit less tall. So let's height like 0.5. Not too bad. Getting closer. And then let's bring this down to like, just bring it 2 down. Not enough. 3 down. Okay, much better. And now I want to, now it actually said for the Z only deals with what is the order of things that are put on. And I want you to start with, okay, so you're down there and then you're going to be, that's with scale. Do I want it to be a transform? It might be a transform. Okay, so with, translation, a vec3, and you're going to be all zeros, except we're going to make you be on top of everything else. We're going to say 100. And Z, you're 0 there. Ooh, I was really kind of hoping that would cause little engine here that's sort of like every once in a while being rendered on top and then every once in a while being rendered underneath to always be rendered underneath. Because I vaguely remember seeing in Bevy that the Z on 2D is used to determine where it is like the order to draw things in. But that's drawing them both at the same time, which is not what I want. So that with translation doesn't work the way I want it to. Will you help me out here? Let's see. The projection contains the near and far values which indicate the minimum and maximum z coordinate depth that can be rendered. Okay, which is kind of what I want. I don't want to zoom. Where would I find this? I almost feel like it's not here. Or I could swear that we saw it in one of the examples, maybe. Oh, there's only 17 Z's, so we can look through all of them and see if there's anything where it says what the Z is. Okay. The 2D render items are sorted according to their Z value before rendering in order to get correct transparency. So I want transform translation Z. Oh, well, that's a transparent. That's not what I want. Do I have to? Because I don't want transparency. But maybe this is what. Okay, mesh. Well, where does mesh Z come from? Oh, this. Okay, so Q all entities visible to that view, which is in, what's the system that it's in? Q colored. Q the 2D meshes marked with colored mesh 2D using a custom pipeline on draw. Oh, they're using a custom draw function. Oh. Yeah, so what I try to do is change the Z in the translate. So this is 100 and this is 0 to mark that it, like, one is farther away from the camera and one is closer to the camera, and therefore to not have them be sort of like hovering over each other, which is what we're having right now. We're having this sort of like, I don't know what you call it, like it's every once in a while. Do I change the translation of the ship later? Oh, I do change the translation of the ship later, don't I? Okay, so hold on. Let's do... So if I do ship Z, let's say that this is 100, and then we have apply velocity. No, draw ship. Yeah. Although I'm only changing the X and the Y. I'm transform translation X and Y there is being set. Like, okay, so I can set Z. What if you change the thruster to be 1000 and above? Sure, we can try that. So we'll keep you at 100, and thruster, you'll be at 1000. You're not visible to the camera because it's not inclusive of the 1000. Do 999. Oh, an ad break just started. Huh, okay, so that's not... We had the little thing showing, though. Near plane stuff? Maybe. So what if I changed you to be 100 and you to be 0? What happened to my thrusters? What did I do? Okay, so if I don't have that there... What? Oh, I forgot the comma. Okay. What did I do? Okay, let's undo. Okay, so I set that to be 100. Okay, so if I save this... Oh, why doesn't Rust allow trailing commas? So it does allow trailing commas on most things, but this default here, it doesn't allow a trailing comma here because that would be an indication that something could be added after it. But the way that default works is that it spreads all of default's results out to the rest of this object, which means there literally cannot be anything afterwards. So it's a protection there for us. Basically it's a communication between, well, I guess the writer, so me and me, letting me know I cannot add anything else there legally. But normally, you can add a trailing comma. You can actually see here, trailing commas here at the end of the arguments. and that's perfectly fine. Okay, so we're back to having this again, and we can see that my rectangle sticks out below. So it's positioned correctly. Now if I, with the rectangle, let's put it to negative instead of positive. No, that was the ship mesh. Well, whatever. Let's put the ship mesh negative. No change. If I get rid of you, and okay, one change at a time. So I got rid of the translation on the ship. Okay, that's still fine. Now I want you to be anything other than 0. So if I have like 10 on the Z, no longer displaying. Interesting. Negative 10. Still not displaying. Is the camera only seeing 1? Back to 0 again. Okay, so let's try this. Back to 0. It displays 0.1. The splat is setting the Z to 100. Yes. But I'm only allowed to set the Z between 0 and 1. Look at this. Oh, interesting. Okay, and if I make you negative Z of 0.1, now it's behind. Now that's behind. Okay, okay. And then finally, for my last trick, we are going to go back to... This is now going to be normal ship color ID. I have an idea to make this look good. So now when I draw the ship, I want to find... So instead of instead of this entity commands, so I want commands entity. Now, with children, takes a closure with built. I want to remove children. I want to replace them. Okay, I was hoping I can maybe like get the child. I have to query for the child, don't I? So, hold on, there was instructions for doing that. Accessing the parent or children. To make a system that works with the hierarchy, you typically need 2 queries. One with the components you need from the child entities. One with the components you need from the parent entities. Okay, so we need query child, and it has the parent and transform. What would this parent be that I'm looking for? As another example, say we are making a strategy game and we have units that are children of a squad. Say we need to make a system that works on each squad and it needs some information about the children. Okay, so it's just basically something that the parent has. That's what I care about. It's something that the parent has. So this is the query, and then we're going to have mute thruster query is another query, and I want a reference to something that only parent has, which right now is, thrust. So sure, thrust. Or wait, is it just with? Or wait, is there a parent thing? Oh, there is a parent. Okay, so so it's a parent, and then I want the transform. No, I don't want the transform. I want the entity. Like that. It should be a component. It inserts it for you. That's not what this says. But maybe it does? So hold on. Is there like a children? Contains references to the child okay, so I could do children like this. Okay, so that gives us the children, and I need you to be mutable. Okay, so we have a mute children. Now, if the thrust is true, I want children. Can I get the first? Yeah, first, okay. So I want let thrusters. Now I can get, but I don't know which one because I don't have the ID of the child. But there's only one of them, right? So I could just get the first. And sure, we'll unwrap because that's never caused any problems. We will expect. So couldn't find the first child, which should be thrusters. Okay, so then that gives me entity, and because entity, I now need to do the entire command entity thrusters, and then insert. Oh, it expected the full thing. Now, if I try to dereference that, oh, that works. Okay. And then I want you to be the normal ship color. Okay, you seem to be okay. We're not going to use you anymore. And then also, did I set this to be, yeah, normal ship. Okay, so we start normal ship with that, normal ship with that. For draw ship, okay, so I don't need this entity anymore. So we're going to get rid of you. Oh, children doesn't need to be mutable. We don't need you. Okay. Let's see. Let's see if it works. Well, would you look at that? We have some thrusters that like turn red when I want to use it. Otherwise, they're not on. That looks pretty cool. I like it. Now, if I don't want that to be white, that's perfectly fine. What we can do, or sorry, if we don't want it to be orange, red, we can now change this to be antique white. So it's not quite as bad. Not quite as eye drawing. And now we can see that turn, which is nice. Okay, so now we can move around the screen. We can technically go off the screen. We don't have anything set up to rotate us around, move to the other side. But hey, it works, which is great. We can move around, and that's all great. I'm happy with this. So I mean, we're done, right? This is Asteroids. You don't need to fire if you don't have any asteroids, right? Okay, so I am, let's see, it's 12:30. I'm getting pretty hungry. So I think I'm gonna need to end and go grab some lunch, and get to some other stuff. I need to work for my other job too. So what's the plan? Tomorrow I'm going to continue with this. I should hopefully be able to start at our normal time at 8 a.m. and continue on until about, around, I think I actually have a lunch that I'm heading to, so I might end a little bit early. So actually it might be around the same amount of time in the day. But we'll continue working on this. Maybe we'll work on wrap next. I feel like we want to move on. We want to work on like all of the movement stuff for the Asteroids game first, at least with the ship, before we create the asteroids. Also, I might want to work on making this a little bit smaller of a ship too. We don't really have much room for maneuvering, but that's a thing. I think we can do that with the scale. Anyway, we'll probably have to have a size too, so we can do calculations for getting destroyed, and also if we're on or off screen, which will be fun. So anyways, everybody again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope that you all have a great rest of your day. There are 40 of us here on Twitch.